my dear students. I'm Dr. Vaishali Bharambe. Last month, I have been teaching you fertilization. So now, assuming that you have studied well, today I'm going to take you through fertilization-based MCQs. So, this is a test for you. Let's see how well you understand. But VB Anatomy teaches you solving of MCQs in a different manner. Let me take you through how we teach. So I want you to read the question. I want you to cover the options. See if you can get the answer on your own without looking at the options. Step number 1. Now, then you begin to go through the options and eliminate the ones which are obviously wrong. It so often happens that you know these are obviously wrong. And that brings you down to 2 MCQs and 2 options. That's when your brain actually comes into the game. Now, once you've decided the option, okay, see why the others don't fit in. Again, go through and clarify. I know you don't have so much time, but when you're studying, you can do this exercise. Be very, very careful when you get words like always, never, all, none. These are tricks. You have to be very careful. Except is another thing you should always circle because keeps you there. Ki ye except wala hai. I'm going to look for the wrong option. Okay? When it is true, then you're looking for the right option. So keep your mind there in the game. All right. Again, practice. Only practice is going to get you where MCQs are concerned. And of course, you must study. So what I suggest, what VB Anatomy has come up with is, we're going to solve MCQs with you. We're going to discuss why A, B, C, D, whatever is the option or why not. Parallelly, I'm going to give you notes. Okay. So on the screen itself, a note icon will appear and the notes will be there on the screen. So once you've solved the MCQ, just go through that note. Okay. Next time when you're studying and you don't have the time, just go through the notes. It will help you to solve those MCQs. Okay. It's better done than explained. So let's begin the process of learning. The aim is always to solve MCQs as well as study. Any additional matter that has been available which will be required later for solving MCQs. So the aim is to study, aim is to solve, and aim is to memorize those notes. Next time they will be useful for you. So let's begin with MCQ number 1. Some are going to be very easy, some are going to be difficult. Be prepared for just be comfortable and happy. Okay, right. So haploid number of chromosomes are seen in spermatogonia, primary spermatocytes, secondary spermatocytes, and none. Okay, so here I want you to go through this. Okay, remember spermatogonia are diploid, but after mitosis, will they produce haploid or diploid? See, mitosis is equational division. So again what they produce, primary spermatocyte, is again diploid. Now primary spermatocyte, as you're aware, enters into meiosis 1. Meiosis is a reduction division, right? So now from diploid, what you get is a secondary spermatocyte which is haploid. That's your answer. Answer C, secondary spermatocyte. However, just for sake of completing the learning, understand that secondary spermatocyte goes through meiosis 2, which is like mitosis, and gives rise to spermatids, which then go through spermiogenesis to give rise to spermatozoons. Okay, so this is now this aspect, and this in the corner, this note in the corner is what you should look for when you're studying next time. So you can just go through these notes. All right. So answer is C, like we discussed. Okay. Let's go to, and this is the note which I want you to study next time you're going to do studies. MCQ number 2, sperm chromosome faster. Students, this is not my language. This is the way it was put up in NEET PG, and that's how I put it exactly the way it is. Sperm chromosome faster. So which is the faster chromosome? Is it AX, BY? Both are same. Now here just understand that Y is a faster chromosome. This is something you have to learn. So answer is B. Let's go to the next one. Following changes are seen during capacitation of a sperm except. What is capacitation? Let's understand that and we'll come back to the question. Okay. So the capacitation it's a process of conditioning of the spermatozoon that occurs in the uterine tube. It takes about 7 hours and it involves removal of molecules covering the plasma membrane of acrosome region. What are they removing? Glycoprotein coat, seminal plasma protein coat, and increased permeability to calcium. Now come back to the question. Increased permeability to calcium? Yes. Decreased permeability to calcium? No. Removal of cholesterol from acrosome? Yes. Increased motility? Yes. So what is the incorrect option here? Or what is the answer? According to me, it should be B. Yes, it is. So what have we learned? We've learned that following changes are seen during capacitation: increased calcium levels, removal of cholesterol, increased motility. Okay, and therefore B, which was saying the calcium levels were reducing, is the incorrect option. Right. Another question on capacitation. This time you should find it easy. Time taken for capacitation is 2, 3, 5, 7. You know that in the earlier note I had told you that it takes 7 hours to complete capacitation. Therefore, D is the answer there. Okay. So this is how it's going to work. Whenever I ask a question initially, I'll just give you a few notes on it while solving the MCQ. And then later on, use those notes for further solving of MCQs. Okay. MCQ 5. Spermatogenesis takes place in epididymis, seminiferous tubules, ductus deferens, prostate. Again, let's take a look. Here's the male reproductive system. And you can see that seminiferous tubules are producing the sperms. So our answer is already there. We know that option B, seminiferous tubules, is the answer. But let's learn something more. The seminiferous tubules produce the sperms and then they travel through the epididymis, vas deferens. They receive the entry from seminal vesicles. They are released into the prostate and then come out. Seminal vesicle node also gives a lot of fluid content to the semen, adds fructose vesiculase. The prostate adds a milky white fluid content to the semen, and this is how the actual semen is produced. Okay, so we know our answer, spermatogenesis takes place in, is seminiferous tubule. Let's check our answer. Yes, B. Okay, everything else was a learning process and we might need it in the next MCQ. MCQ 6. False for seminal vesicles. They contain large amount of fructose. They store sperms. Stop. They never store sperms because they are not part of the path along which the sperms travel. So I know for sure that store sperm is an incorrect option, 100%. But just let me read the other options to be sure. Situated on either side of prostate? Yes. Secretion of seminal vesicle gives a mucoid consistency to semen? Yes. So, B, stores sperms, is false and therefore is the correct answer. Perfect. Next, major contribution to human seminal fluid is from. You should be able to answer this without looking at the options. I know that it comes from seminal vesicles. We've done this in our earlier notes. B has to be the option. Let me take a look. Yes. Of course, the testes provide sperms. Prostate provides that whitish fluid. Bulbourethral and urethral glands provide something else. But the majority fluid content, it comes from seminal vesicles. MCQ 8. Spermatogenesis begins at birth, 5 years, puberty, 18 years. You know that it begins at puberty. I'm sure you know that. Everybody knows it. Okay. So we know that C is the option in males. What about the females? When does oogenesis begin in a female? If the question can come for a male, it should come for a female as well. So when does gametogenesis begin in the male? It begins at puberty. When does gametogenesis begin in a female? That's a question. Take a look. So this is a table you should learn up now. Okay. So at 5 to 6 weeks of intrauterine life, primordial germ cells appear which get converted into oogonia. Oogonia multiply. By third month, oogonia form primary oocyte. Has gametogenesis started yet? No. All this is mitosis. Okay. But at 7th month of intrauterine life, primary oocytes enter meiosis 1 and are arrested in diplotin phase of prophase. Right? Now, here begins your oogenesis. But they are arrested. So, oogenesis has started and then has been put on a pause mode. Okay. So, then they go on decreasing, and by the time the person hits puberty, there are 40,000 primary oocytes left. Using those only, that female can go ahead and beget a child. So, what did we learn from this table? We learned that oogenesis in a female begins in intrauterine life, 7th month of intrauterine life. That's when meiosis 1 begins and is arrested in which phase of prophase? It's arrested in the diplotin phase of prophase. So, these tables are going to help you solve MCQs later. MCQ 9. Oogenesis begins 1 before birth, at puberty, 18 years. This obviously is before birth. A is the option, right? Correct option. Next, sperms attain maturity in. Now here I want to tell you something. A lot of discussion has been going on about when and how do sperms achieve maturity. But general consensus is that it is in epididymis. Okay, you will find a lot of different answers, but as of now, MCQs it is expected that you write epididymis, although each of these options are providing their own level of maturity to a sperm. Okay, so here the answer is C. So when you say there will be 2 times when this happens, where do sperms achieve motility? It is epididymis. Where do they achieve maturity? It is epididymis. Okay, right. MCQ 11. Now you will wonder why I am mentioning the number. Because when you are watching my video and if you have a doubt regarding any MCQ, you can message to me saying I have a problem with MCQ 11 in your fertilization MCQs. That way I'll know which MCQ you're talking about. Now MCQ 11. Liquefaction time of semen. Students, this time is always 30 minutes. Okay, again, general consensus is 30 minutes, although a lot of minutes are discussed. Now, question is, do you know what is liquefaction of semen? And again, there is a note here. See, liquefaction is when the semen that has been ejaculated becomes liquid. You should know that when it is ejaculated, by effect of vesiculase enzyme, it kind of coagulates. I have taught you that in the fertilization video. After 30 minutes, it becomes somewhat liquefied, which helps in the motility of the sperms. And that is why you should know that this time is 30 minutes. Okay, so this is a note you're going to come back and read up. MCQ 12. Cells which lie outside blood testis barrier are the following. I'll quickly explain to you what is blood testis barrier. Okay, the answer is D because Leydig cells always lie outside seminiferous tubules. But here, now here what you're seeing are 2 cells of Sertoli. This is one and this is the other. Okay, and now as you can see, each cell of Sertoli is giving rise to a projection by which they are hanging on to each other. Okay, so what they are doing is they are creating a blood testis barrier so that there is an adluminal compartment and there is an abluminal compartment. AB, abluminal, AD, adluminal. Okay, and what is happening is that there is no way any structure in your blood can touch anything that is lying in the adluminal compartment. So there is a clear barrier between the blood and the structures that are undergoing spermatogenesis. Okay, so that means what? Your primary spermatocyte, secondary spermatid and spermatozoon are all protected from activities or actions of the elements from blood. This is blood testis barrier. Since your cells of Leydig are anyway present between seminiferous tubules, they are always outside the blood testis barrier, and that is why that was the correct option. Why do you want a blood testis barrier? Because antibodies which are present in the blood can think that these cells which are undergoing a different division, meiosis division, are foreign, and therefore they can begin to act against them, destroying the sperms. Okay, so that is why you need a blood testis barrier. Right. We come to MCQ number 13. The axial filament of sperm tail has following arrangement of filaments. Now this is the sperm tail, okay? This section has been taken here, and this is the sperm tail section. You can see how it contains doublets of microtubules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 plus 2 in the center. Okay, so what is the axial filament has following arrangement of filaments? 9 plus 2 arrangement. D has to be the option. Okay, so knowledge makes you solve MCQs easily. That simple. Students, if you're enjoying this video, do please like and subscribe to my channel and share it with one friend. Okay, maybe you kids can sit together and discuss these MCQs. Just share it with one friend. Continuing with it, MCQ 14. Now this is a difficult one, pay attention. True about normal sperm count. Okay, there are a lot of values given here. The moment I read them, I'm going to be confused. So I'm going to ask myself, what is the normal sperm count? As I understand it, it is approximately 100 million sperms per ml. Okay, this is a value I have fit in my brain. Now what I do is, now I look at the options. Is there anybody who is coming close to that? Yes, 60 to 120 million is coming quite close to my target value. I am thinking, okay, D could be the answer. But what about the others? There is a lakh per millimeter cube. What exactly does it mean? So let's use this now. What is 1 lakh? 1 lakh is 1 and then 5 zeros. What is 1 million? 1 million is 10 lakhs. Okay, so these are some things that you should just put in your brain. 1 millimeter cube is equal to 0.001 ml. Okay, so we have to ask ourselves, what is 1 lakh? What is 1 million? 10 lakh is equal to 1 million. What is 1 millimeter cube? 0.001 ml is 0.1 millimeter cube. And then do the maths. You will find that 60 to 100 lakh is barely 10,000 sperms per ml. 4 to 5 million is barely 500 sperms per ml, 5,000. So you saw that obviously these are very low values, and therefore 60 to 120 per ml has to be the option. This is not an easy MCQ, students. You will really be challenged. Okay, so get these values in your brain. Let's go to MCQ 16. Semen analysis of a male of an infertile couple. Pay attention. Semen analysis of a male of an infertile couple. Couple is not having able to conceive, and we've done a semen analysis of the male. Shows absence of spermatozoa, no spermatozoa, but presence of fructose. That means seminal vesicles are active but sperms are not being produced. The most probable diagnosis is prostatic infection, who knows, mumps or otitis. See, remember, if there is mumps, no, mumps is going to reduce the sperm count. It's not going to make it zero. Prostatic infection has nothing to do with production of sperm. Okay. Block in the efferent duct system. Yes, very possible. If the efferent duct system is blocked, the sperms cannot reach the vas deferens. All of the above. According to me, it has to be C. Why not mumps or otitis? Because mumps decreases spermatogenesis but does not bring the count to zero. Yes, it is C. Okay, so use your logic, use your brain and remain sharp. Don't allow yourself to feel sleepy. Don't allow the words to kind of, just roam around in front of your eyes. Don't allow it. Be strict with yourself and with the work you're doing. MCQ 17. Artificial insemination with husband semen. Pay attention to this. You are doing artificial insemination using husband semen. Okay, is indicated in the following situation. Now ask yourself, when would you use husband semen? When it contains viable, useful number of sperms. Okay, with that, let's read the options. Oligospermia, yeah, the sperms are few, so you're doing artificial insemination using them. Impotency, yeah, possible. He's impotent doesn't mean he's sterile. So you can use his sperms for artificial insemination. Anti-sperm antibodies in cervical mucus. Yeah, so you cross the cervical mucus yourself instead of asking the sperms to do so. I find all the first three options correct. What about azoospermia? Azoospermia is equal to zero sperm. If husband semen has no sperm, how can you use it for artificial insemination? Right? So here we come to use and learning of some terms. Oligospermia is decreased number of sperms. That is okay, reduced number. Okay, so that's why you're doing artificial insemination. Azoospermia, no sperms. When there are no sperms, you cannot really use that semen. And the others, astheno are lazy sperms, necrozoospermia are non-viable sperms, teratozoospermia are abnormal morphology of sperms. Okay. With this, we come to yes. So, therefore, azoospermia was the correct option. Let's now go to MCQ 18. Most common time for embryo transfer after IVF. Students, this may not be asked to a first MBBS student. It goes for the third year students. IVF, usually the zygote is about 6 to 8 cell stage, which is day 3. Okay, so on day 3, when it is 6 to 8 cell stage, you're going to transfer the embryo. Okay, so that is why option B is the correct option. Again, you're going to get some notes here. Ovulation can be diagnosed by all except. Okay, ask yourself, what happens in ovulation? Okay, in ovulation, there is some ovulation pain. It's called Mittelschmerz. There is slight vaginal bleeding. There is a slight rise in basal body temperature. Okay, the cervical mucus becomes very stringy. Serum progesterone rises on day 21 and secretory and endometrium is secretory by then. So these are all signs of ovulation. Now let's go to ovulation can be diagnosed by measuring day 14 serum progesterone. No. Rise in body temperature? Yes. Rise in study of cervical mucus? Yes. Stringy mucus, remember. Endometrial histology? Yes. Secretory endometrium. So, by looking at progesterone on day 14, you're not going to find out whether ovulation has been done, right? So, that has to be the incorrect and therefore the correct option, A. So, these are the notes which I want you to come back and read so that next time you have something similar, okay, you have your knowledge in your brain. Let's go to MCQ 20. In spermatogenesis, independent assortment of paternal and maternal chromosomes. Paternal and maternal chromosomes are mixing. In which stage? Primary to secondary is meiosis 1. Yes. Spermatogonia to primary spermatocyte, this is mitosis. That does not allow for any mixing. Secondary spermatocyte to spermatid, this is meiosis 2, which is similar to mitosis. And spermatids to spermatozoa is actually just a change. There is no nuclear DNA change at all. And therefore, A is the option where maternal and paternal chromosomes are mixing. Yes, that's the correct answer. Velocity of the sperm is, now here it's pure memory, velocity of sperm is 1 to 4 millimeter per hour. Okay, so per minute, sorry. So that is C is the correct option. Let's go to MCQ 22. What is meant by superfecundation? This is very interesting, students. Okay, what is superfecundation? This is all what stories are made up of. Okay, you can wipe that smile off your face and get back to studies now. Okay, superfecundation is basically a situation where a mother is having multiple pregnancies. She's conceived 2. Okay, but the conception has happened by 2 different separate intercourses. So therefore, it may be that the same person is the father of both the progeny, or it is possible that there are 2 separate fathers to the same pregnancy. Yeah, I'm sure you all are smiling, but this is what it is, okay? So what is meant by superfecundation? A fertilization of 2 or more ova in one intercourse. Fertilization or 2 or more ova in different intercourse. That is B, in different intercourse. Okay, if it's the same intercourse, then those are twins. Okay, fertilization of ova and then division, no. Fertilization of second ovum first being implanted? No. According to me, B. When there are two, the mother has ovulated producing more than one secondary oocyte, and by two separate intercourse acts, she has landed up conceiving two separate children who could be parented by the same father or who could be from two separate fathers. This is superfecundation. The person who is shooting this video now is also smiling. So I'm sure you all are all smiling at this, but this is asked in the exam. Okay. So let's talk about MCQ 23. A woman gave birth to twins. Okay. The father alleged that the children did not belong to him. DNA test reveals that one of the twin child belongs to him, the other one does not. What is this condition called? Obviously, we just did it, right? We know it is called superfecundation. There. Okay. Once you know it as superfecundation has been asked so often, it's right from my college years to the time today. This question gets asked repeatedly. Be prepared for it. Okay. And I'm going to put a little asterisk here so that you'll remember this gets asked very often. Okay. Right. Following type of glycoproteins are found in zona pellucida. Pause, think. I've taught you in fertilization. Zona pellucida consists of ZP1, ZP2, ZP3 proteins. Is there ZP1, 2, 3 here? Yes. Option C contains ZP3. That has to be the answer. Okay. Let's go to MCQ 25. The process of egg development without fertilization. Now, these are some MCQs which are asked by different examinations. So they use words like egg. You have to be mentally prepared that they can use this instead of using the word secondary oocyte, which is more medically correct. So when an egg development occurs without fertilization, it's called parthenogenesis. I think this was taught you in your school years. Yes, it's the answer. The process of fertilization occurs here in the mammals. This is a sitter. They've given it to you because they want you to score. Obviously, answer is fallopian tube. There's no fertilization happening in vagina, in the penis, or in the vas deferens. It's idiotic. These two are obviously wrong answers. Vagina also, it doesn't take place. Actually, the sperm has to travel to fallopian tube to actually fertilize the secondary oocyte. That's the option. So we come to MCQ 27. Students, we're almost to the end now. Now here you need to ponder. Question is, what is cortical reaction? Why is it important? So now when you see a lot of data like this in MCQ, ask yourself, what is cortical reaction? Cortical reaction is when the cortical granules at the edge of the secondary oocyte are stimulated to release their contents. Who stimulates them? The sperm that enters inside stimulates them. Okay, and this stimulus causes a calcium wave to occur and the complete plasma membrane gets blocked off, preventing polyspermy. Okay, so now cortical reaction is fusion of egg cortex and egg plasma membrane? No. Cortical reaction is entry of calcium into the egg? No. Cortical reaction is exocytosis of cortical granules? Maybe. During egg maturation, which contains the contents of zona pellucida? Absolutely not. Now let's talk about DNA. Okay, the cortical reaction is depolarization of plasma membrane after sperm entry, yeah, which helps to block polyspermy. This is a very possible answer. The cortical reaction is release of cortical granules after sperm entry, yes, which converts white line membrane into fertilization membrane, blocks polyspermy. According to me, E is a better option. E is a better answer. Okay, so here you're seeing that E is the answer. Okay. Sometimes MCQs, the options are so similar. It takes time for you to ponder and think which one you want to tick on. Okay. MCQ 28, what is acrosome reaction? You know that acrosome reaction is when the acrosomal contents and enzymes are released from the acrosomal cap of the sperm, which helps the sperm to travel through corona radiata and zona pellucida. Okay, so acrosome reaction is a repulsive interaction between sperm and egg? No. Acrosome reaction is digestion of acrosome by sperm? Let's think about it. Acrosome reaction is digestion of zona pellucida, permitting contact of sperm to contact of egg? Yeah, yes. Acrosome reaction is fusion of sperm and egg plasma membrane? Definitely not. Acrosome reaction is entry of sperm nucleus into the egg. So there are 2, 3, B, C, E, which all look very similar to me. Okay, but the best option according to me is digestion of zona pellucida, permitting contact of sperm to egg. Okay, that's how many times MCQs look very similar. You have to take your time to ponder upon them to come to the right answer. This last one I'm going to leave to you. Okay, there is a male who is a truck driver. The moment you say the word truck driver, think that he's been driving for hours endlessly with his genital region very close to the very heated machine. What is the effect of heat on sperms? Remember why the whole testes has come out into the scrotum? Because it cannot handle the amount of heat in the abdominal cavity. So how is going to handle the heat that is coming from the engine? So there is very high likelihood of his spermatogenesis process being affected. And then a lot of other things are given, like they've been married for 5 years, so by now they should have conceived. Wife has history of menarche at 13, which is normal. She has regular menses. She has minimal dysmenorrhea. Both give no history of major illness, no history of sexual incompatibility. So, on the basis of this history, what could be the most possible cause of infertility? Wife has imperforate hymen. They're giving history of normal sexual activity. This is not. Plus, she is saying she's had normal menses. How can she have imperforate hymen? Prolonged driving in heated cabins. This has to be the answer. But let's read the other options. The male suffers from premature ejaculation. No, they're giving a history of normal sexual compatibility. The wife suffers from endometriosis. No, otherwise she would have given history of severe dysmenorrhea. So according to me, B is the right answer. Yes, it is. Okay. So some words should alert your antennae. When somebody says truck driver, heated cabins, you should understand that this is the likely cause of infertility. So students, these are a lot of MCQs that I have shared with you. In case you have doubts, just feel free to WhatsApp to me on my number and I'll call you back, or we can always discuss on the phone or through messaging. But please do not go forward without clarity of knowledge. Okay. Share your thoughts in comment section about this video. Like and subscribe, and please share with one friend. Or in fact, again I'll suggest sit with your friends and discuss these MCQs together. Group discussions are very useful way of studying. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I love taking it. See you across the screen in some other video.